You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't become successful if you don't understand that you got to earn the right to chill. Do what you have to do before you can do what you want to do. That gets you in shape. It gets you in shape. But let them practice chilling without earning it over and over and over and over. Just
Turns into a new habit.
yeah, yes, and as a parent, you end up negotiating with your own child. Why don't if they're chilling, they don't want to work. So when you tell them they got to go do that, they want you to wait till after they're done chilling. Yeah, I could have never done that in my house. My butt still would be sore. You know what I'm saying? My dad ain't hearing that.
Same with my mama. My
Exactly.
mama didn't play.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's part of what turns you around. Because somewhere that connected. Sometimes it makes somebody else to say it for it to connect. But the foundation is there. Oh yeah. Chet, Seth, you have a piece of this in the success of your own life. When you think about from whence you've came to where you are now. There's a huge message there. Now I want you to think about this. You know, so suppose we did a sit down. Not there's probably enough people out there like you. How do you turn it around and become something? The Rocky's like you. You know, how do we do a video? And this is directly related to the kids I see in the after school. Rico Elmore, he was in the after school program. So was Julian. You know, uh, success is about learning how to get the most out of yourself so that you can advance yourself in a positive way. How do you learn to do that? But man, could we do a I mean, this would be a valuable lesson for parents and a valuable lesson for other black males.
Yeah.
You know, but you got a story to tell, man. You know, you do. It is a story about how do you turn that around and become successful, and what do you have to do, what kind of practice, and what do you have to continue to do.
Facts.
You know.
And that's what my book is about. My book is really about breaking that cycle that I broke
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
kind of creating a blueprint for others
Yes. Well, I'll tell
break
you,
that cycle in their own life.
don't make the book too long. Don't make it too long. Don't try to help. Don't make them feel like they're eating an elephant when chicken will do.
I heard.
You understand what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
So they can do it. So try to make, but tune it to the point where they can get the message, and they can see themselves in you. When you can hook them to that they can see themselves in you, you got a chance to move them. Yeah, but there's no question. There's no question. I have learned so much I'm still learning, and I'm still learning. But my biggest commitment is to God, is to give Him back. You know, and God has shown me the way to do it. But I never expected to be as financially rewarding as it can be. You know, and that's why I'm thinking, you could become this could become helpful to you in your career if we can do the things that, because you've said some amazing things as we've talked through this process to me. This newsletter is going to be an important piece. I can tell that right now, especially when it comes to this Do No Harm Network. We got to produce that Do No Harm newsletter. And we've got to have pieces that we fill every time. The network has to become a piece of that. You know, because I want that network, I want them also to see in the process of doing that network, I want them to see you in it. See, I ain't worried about me no more. You understand what I'm saying? I want you to see this as something that you can grow for your business. I'm looking for this to help you. It'll be a win-win for me because it's going to have pieces in it that's going to help the Do No Harm network. But if we can think of this Do No Harm newsletter that encompasses those things, and the marketing of it will show your skill. You hear me? You know, because when I look at all these places that do video productions and the integration of this cultural competency with high performance, and capturing that by video, and ultimately we can market that video. You follow me? So the things that we do, that's going to, if we can market that, you know, if there's a benefit to me, there'll be a benefit to you. And I'd like to draw that into this process. I just would, you know, so if it'll help you, that'll help. I'll be happy. You understand? So if we can produce videos that are Zoom friendly, or even if they are podcast friendly, or even if they have the ability to market them on their own, you know, that would be a big help to me, because Don Sheffield can't be everywhere. I don't want to be everywhere. You know, and I'm 75, so my life is on the downside. But if I can create something that would be on the upside for you, so I want you to think about that. How do you use this as a marketing tool? And however it's going to advance Seth, I'm happy with. So let's figure that out in this process. That what we're doing is looking at ways that we can market the Do No Harm cultural competency training into videos that can be controlled by Seth. Won't bother me one bit. Won't bother me one bit. You know, and let's figure out how it can reap a benefit for you.
Well, for me, the benefit is always the execution of the long-term goals. So making this something that touches America and not just Beaver County
Absolutely.
is a lot for me.
Absolutely. I hear you.
Because I was a part of it.
Well,
so the success of the purpose and the execution of the purpose is really what benefits me the most.
Well, let me tell you what.
Anytime I approach organizations and say, hey, your mission is to help the handicapped.
Yes.
Well, look how I strategically help
exactly.
succeed. I want to help you succeed in this.
Exactly.
So that's where, because to be honest, the video is the smaller portion of what I do. What I really do is help people strategically execute on their goals.
Right.
But we can also film.
Well, here's the thing. As I look at this past week, Monday, I'm doing a conference call with the Chester County Housing Authority across the state, Philadelphia. They're looking to hire cultural competency, diversity, equity, inclusion trainer. So we're doing a Zoom on what I could offer them. They're looking at others as well. So during this Zoom call, the girl says, well, this is part of our DE&I initiative. And I said, okay, hold up. If this is part of a DE&I initiative, you may not want me. Let me tell you why. So I said, I'm going to make you rethink DE&I. I'm going to make you think of the equity trilogy. And that equity is about creating an organization which everybody excels to the best of their ability. And its framework is diversity, inclusion, and cultural competency. And what I'm going to bring you is that piece that's missing, cultural competency. But you need to think of it not as DE&I. You need to think of equity as being the umbrella, because that's going to get everybody on it. You got it? Because remember, the reason why I became successful at Penn State is because I went from this area of only black people knew to this area in which everyone knew. That I learned something from that. Seth, I learned something. And that is that the reason why D&I isn't working is because it's becoming an arena for the minority. And those who have the power, influence, and privilege ain't in there. They're in the majority. In case you want to know, how many folks are on the Supreme Court that are minorities?
1 or 2.
How many folks do you know that are in the legislature that are a minority? You know what I'm saying? If it's going to work, it's got to become something that everybody can own. The mistake we make is that we're trying to fight for ourselves, and rightfully so. So it becomes owned and viewed as being owned by us. And at any moment, the majority can exit out. Even the Supreme Court, at any moment. So we need to learn how important it is to develop the ability to have the ownership of equity, a leadership issue. If you are in charge, you need to make sure that equity is a part of what you lead. You follow me? Because if leadership stays in the minority community, we live in America, doggone it, and majority rules. And like it or not, if you don't believe me, look what's happening in the States. How in the world did Roe versus Wade get overturned? It makes no sense. I'm not even talking about the religious side of it. It makes no sense that in a democracy like we live in, where folks have the right to bear arms and can own an AR-15 in the name of the Constitution, you mean to tell me that we can't see how inappropriate it is for us to tell a woman what to do with her body? And for years, that was the law. So how did it get changed? It changed because them doggone Republicans know that if they get a majority in the Supreme Court, it's going to rule.
Majority rule.
Oh, it still has. And so, and look at the backlog. Look how backwards we're going with advancing diversity in these states where Republicans have a majority. They don't own it. Well, how can you not own a culture that is do no harm? How can you not own a culture that says you aren't culturally competent if you're gay? You aren't culturally competent if you're African American. You aren't culturally competent if you're white. That doesn't make you culturally competent. What makes you culturally competent is your ability to bring unity.
Makes sense.
Now, isn't that what makes America beautiful? So that's the idea. So my thing is that once the message gets out, if the tapes reflect that message, how can you say no to it? So that's why making this connection to what we're doing and do no harm, I'm looking at that piece as something that I can send to anybody that's in charge of something. Saying, understand how important this is. So that's what so this piece that we're doing for, mental health, if they can see that connection, they'll be picking up the phone. So now this becomes a marketing tool because the options now after that will be, Don Sheffield can't be everywhere, but we can do online training. We can do a Zoom training. We can do video training. We can do tape. We can send you the link to train your staff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But and that newsletter becomes important because we can disseminate it.
Here's something you could think about in terms of expanding. I know you would like to do less.
I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have to be able to do less.
And I think a way to carry on the legacy
Right.
far beyond Dr.
Right.
Sheffield
Exactly.
would be to spot 2 to 3 people that you could train
Right, right.
to do this.
Well, Dr. Mitchell is one of them.
Okay.
But Dr. Mitchell, he's just retired himself. He's 65, so he may have 10 more years. He's very good. He knows me well. He knows everything I do well. And he's been part of he's one of them. And so he's going to, and you didn't meet him. He was on a boat ride. You didn't meet him. I should have introduced
I'm
you.
not sure.
Tony Mitchell. He's done some work with Sean, a lot of work with Sean.
Okay.
But he's from Pittsburgh. He just retired from Penn State, McKeesport. Good guy. You'll like him. I need to get you guys together. But I think you'll see that he's definitely will be able to carry on some of this, but he's still trying to figure out. He has his own business. He's a drummer, so he does a lot of entertainment things with drumming, and did a lot of stuff on Juneteenth. But yeah, that you're absolutely right. I need to do that. And at the same time, that's why these videos, that's why podcasts, that's why these things become important, because at least we can provide people with some sense of this is what it's all about. So at some point, I need to put together that training in cultural competency that any sector could use. But sometimes I might have to tailor pieces of it to law enforcement, to healthcare, to faith-based, for sure. I got a lot of stuff for faith-based. So we definitely need to be able to connect it to all of those sectors. So think about it in terms of if this would be something that, if you want to take your business into that kind of domain where people are seeing your skills, at production, and saying, can you do this for us?
Will do.
But think about it. But as far as I'm concerned, in my relationship with you, if we can create videos that can be marketable.
We definitely can. I think once I get a chance to look at that.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'll get that for you.
We could even, because I do trainings. Where I have a training right now where I'm training artists and growing businesses on how to delegate, especially from our community, because we tend to wear many hats.
Oh yes.
Burn ourselves.
Oh yes. Oh yes. True.
And God last year had me so overwhelmed that He had me learning to delegate, and now I'm at a point where I have 4 employees, and I feel better than I ever have.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't wear many, so I created a training.
Right.
So once I look at your training, we could sit down and figure out how we can.
I gotcha.
Sit down.
Absolutely.
Create the training.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that might be what could work through the Genesis Collective.
Okay.
Because we're all a group of videographers, artists. So
Absolutely.
we could sit down with them and say, hey, all right, while he trains us, let's turn this into an official,
I gotcha.
Training.
Right.
And then that video, we can make sure
That's
it's
interesting.
tailored to everybody.
Absolutely.
And sell it, and sell the course.
Why not?
Because I purchase $200, $50, $40 courses all the time to expand every aspect of my business. I'll say my social media person, my project manager, but hey, we're hopping on this training together. Let's go. Just to continue growing.
Well, that's an interesting idea. And that would be interesting because I do this cultural competency session, but I also do a session on the culture of poverty.
Okay.
2 distinct trainings, but they got to have the introduction to cultural competency before they can do the culture of poverty. Okay. And the culture of poverty specifically talks about how to stop generational poverty. How do you keep folks from repeating the cycle? How do you keep children from becoming adults in poverty? So, and I'm telling you, I have established myself as the cultural competency guru across public housing training in all of the state of Pennsylvania. I will have done this will be my 4th trip to Seven Springs, doing it 4 different public housing associations, just in Pennsylvania and across. And now I'm talking with, you'll love this, the National Association of Public Housing Administrators in Washington He was at the conference in Seven Springs last week when I was there, 2 weeks ago when I was there. He was so moved by the presentation on cultural competency. He says, we want to put you into our national circuit. So remember, this is the association that connects to every housing authority across 50 states. And believe me, but in Pennsylvania, I am it. So what I was telling you about these folks in Philadelphia is when she came in with this D&I message and I said, I'm going to get you to rethink this. When I was done and I connected it. Now, she was the human resource person, but the person in charge of the director, the executive director, was also there. She was there also at the session, but she was the human resource person who's responsible for reviewing all of these candidates for training, right? So she's talking about D&I. So right away I knew that she was from the old D&I school, but she wanted to talk about microaggression. And when I was done, and of course, I'm going to link it to being culturally incompetent. You follow me? When I was done, the executive director, who was her boss, she says to me, when I made the link between cultural competency and do no harm, and then gave the course of the rap, she just perked up. I want that here. So I knew when they were done, going through all these consultants, I knew where they were going to go.
That's that paradigm shift. And that cultural...
Absolutely it is.
Cultural competency, like connecting it,
yes.
it does that.
Exactly.
It does that.
Exactly, because it uncomplicates it. It uncomplicates it. Most people can understand what it means to do no harm by your thoughts, words, or actions. Okay. But the most powerful part about the rap to me is the first verse. I'll do no harm by actions, words, or do no harm by actions, words, or thoughts. Remember when you come in here, everyone is taught. Respect, honor, and excellence together we can achieve. Just do no harm and strive to show the best of you and me. It's speaking to the culture of the organization, because that school can be a workplace. That school could be a church. You take that word school out and put anything in there you want. When you come into this organization, it's about being culturally competent. It's about doing no harm. That's the cultural shift. And that's transparent to race. That's transparent to party. That's transparent to sexual orientation. That's transparent to social class. It means the most important thing is that you know how to take this diversity that we're coming from and interact with it in a positive way. So capturing that to me and being able to extend that into a training and even if we have to reduce it to a $100 training packet of materials, $200 training packet of materials, if my legacy can be that there is a way that people can at least experience this do no harm message, without Don Sheffield, by other that have been trained, or by videos that are out there. But that's where I'm hoping that you can take this and flood me with ways that we can think about, especially after you see this whole training piece on Zoom, how we can think about creating packages, podcasts, whatever it is that people will be willing to pay for to get it. Because I'm convinced that we're in uncharted territory with this cultural competency and do no harm. And reframing the equity trilogy, because it's absent, remember. It ain't even there. And that's why all the experts have been saying that we've failed in DE&I, because we're not reaching something and they don't know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. You ain't reaching these white folks that have the power, influence, and privilege. That's what it is. That's what it is. And at the same time, you're also reaching the minorities, because we're not the end game. The end game is our ability to relate to this system of diversity in a positive way, all of us. So we got to own that. If we want folks to own us in the plight that we are under, this oppression that we often get under, dealing with the things we have to deal with, CCBC, and they're doing away with term limits so they didn't have to put blacks on the board. You know, if we want folks to take up that cross with us, then we have to teach the system how to own equity and be responsible for cultural competency. That will help us and help them understand that it's their job and hold their feet to the fire. If we can help companies understand that an employee's ability to relate to somebody else that works for you in a positive way, if they happen to be of a different sexual orientation, is something that they should be able to do in your workplace. You know, so don't bring that crap in here that, you know, about your feelings about the sin of being gay. In here, you're going to be culturally competent. In here, well, you know, I don't believe that anyway. Love is love. You ain't got, you know what I'm saying? When you got it in here, all religion teaches that. I don't care what people say. I mean, if you got a serious religion, it ain't going to teach you to divide yourself.
Facts.
So anyway, so that's my point. That if we can create that message of our videos is going to be a little different, because it's going to talk about, hey, here we are. This equity trilogy is what we're all about, and we all need to learn this piece that we've been missing. Everybody does. You know, so I honestly think, you know, and the newsletter will help, because all these snippets can be articulated at various times as part of the equity do no harm network.
I think you continue to educate those who might be a part of the training.
Exactly.
Get new
Exactly.
information.
Exactly.
Especially if we highlight popular things that are going on.
Exactly.
Because that whole situation with the Spanish woman getting shot.
Yes.
Cultural competency is all in that.
Exactly.
Most police situations.
And you see, I envision the day when we will have a staff person whose sole job is to look at the media and pull out incidents of cultural incompetency and highlight it in the newsletter.
Because that's what's going to drive.
Exactly.
Like,
So if we
I want to hear what he has to say about this.
Exactly. So if we have hospitals, I'm sitting with a gal. Oh my gosh. I felt so bad for her. She's a good friend of mine. She lives in Merida. She went into the hospital. She was having serious abdominal pain. She goes into the hospital. They put her in the hospital. And she had to be on